My dear parents and students who have come from 4 different states, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka, and Andhra Pradesh, who have studied in P.C. Thomas classes and made this success story a real one. 2 years back, P.C. Thomas called me for such a meeting in the same Jerusalem Retreat Center. I addressed around 3,000 students who came to that meeting. But last 1.5 years, 11.5 lakh people have seen that video throughout the 6 continents. So the reach of such a function is really wonderstruck. 2 years later, the next batch of you have assembled in this hall to celebrate your great success and give thanksgivings to God. My dear students, on this day of success, all of you have to first remember 3 or 4 forces and people and thank them. The first thanks have to go to Almighty God. The God made it possible for each one of you. God gave you good parents, God gave you good education, and God gave an insight to your parents to bring you to P.C. Thomas Marsh classes. And there the dedicated teachers taught you. And God gave the health and the peace of mind to write this examination and come out in flying colors. So before every success, all of us have to bow our head in thanksgiving to God, for which all of you have assembled here. The second thanks is to go to our parents, our father and mother. But between the two, one is above the other. That is our mother. The great Thiruvalluvar, the Tamil sage poet and universal philosopher, in his Tirukkural, 1330 verses, he gave what is life, the philosophy of life. But one slogan of Thiruvalluvar struck me in my heart. One person came and asked Thiruvalluvar, when do human beings experience bliss, the highest happiness on the surface of the earth? Thiruvalluvar said, the highest happiness is reserved to mothers. A mother conceives a child, bears that child for 10 months, delivers that child with great pain, and rear that child to a great person. And when that great man walks through the streets of the village, villagers ask each other, whose son is this? Whose daughter is this? And when the villagers proudly say, he or she is the son or daughter of that woman, and when the mother comes to hear about it, that is the highest happiness on the surface of the earth. When each one of you have the success story, the human being who have the greatest bliss on the earth is your mother. Second is your father, but between the two, mother is one step higher. The great Shankaracharya, the greatest Malayali ever born, was going to Kashi when he heard that his mother is in the last stages of her life. He came back and then told his mother, oh mother, what a mother gives to her son or daughter cannot be given back in equal measure by no son. Let it be an emperor, let it be a crorepati. Shankaracharya says, prasuda prasuna, not in with one life, but even if a son takes many lives, he may not be able to give back to his mother the full measure of what's done to the son. Shankaracharya gave his famous Madhur Stotram in praise of the mother. So on this happy occasion, when you celebrate your success, give thanks to your mother, Give thanks to your father. Your parents deserve the second thanks from each one of you. The third great happiness and thanks should go to your teachers. Each one of us is what we are because of our gurus, because of our acharyas. Guru, the Sanskrit word, means one who dispels darkness, ignorance from our brain, from our minds. Each one of you came to this position to achieve success in this examination because you got a string of gurus from LKG up to now. So give thanks to all the gurus, all the teachers who have made this success possible for each one of you. Fourthly, great thanks have to go to P.C. Thomas Marsh and all his dedicated teachers. P.C. Thomas Marsh is a magic figure. Thousands and thousands of people became doctors, engineers, and they rose high in their professional life because the first spark was by P.C. Thomas Marsh and the dedicated teachers. Give thanks to all of them who made this success story possible. My dear students, each one of you is entering a profession. You should understand what is a profession. There is something called job. There is something called employment. There is something called career. There is something called profession. Each one of them is not the same. It's different. An employment means something what which you do, you get some salary or benefits out of it, and somehow you live. A job is something which you do to kill your time. You may not get a remuneration for what you are doing, but you get some enjoyment by doing a job. A career is something in which you enter, and step by step you climb. The moment I became an assistant superintendent of police, I knew the steps I am going to climb. Within 4 years, I was supposed to become an SP. Within 9 years, I was supposed to climb to the junior administrative grade. In 13 years, I will become a DIG. In 19 years, I knew I will become an IG. In 26 years, I knew I will become an additional DGP. And 30 years, I knew I will become a Director General of Police. Progression is assured. That is a career. But each one of you have entered a profession. Profession means you have something to profess to this world. Through your service, you are going to change the mind of thousands and lakhs of people to a new vision, to a new safety, to a new feeling of well-being in this world. You profess something with your profession. And when you enter that profession, you should be able to remember one of the famous sentences which changed the course of Albert Schweitzer, one of the great doctors we have seen. Albert Schweitzer was a philosophy student. He was almost 34 years of age. He went to the church to see the Holy Mass. And the priest in the church was reading the great story of the talent Jesus Christ told the disciples. Talent was a coin which was equivalent to 500 rupees. But now if you tell anybody the word talent, it is immediately bringing to the mind of the hearer the inherent qualities God gave to each human being. That is the meaning of the word talent now. Jesus Christ changed the meaning of that silver coin into something else. After telling the story of the talent, Jesus Christ underscored it with a great sentence. The sentence was, "To whomsoever much is given, much is expected." If God has given lot of talents to anybody, God expects an equal amount of contribution from you to this world. To whomsoever much is given, much is expected. Albert Schweitzer stopped the study of philosophy. He went and joined the MBBS course, became a great doctor. He went to Africa, to Lambaréne, and treated lakhs and lakhs of African people to health and happiness. What Albert Schweitzer realized when he read that sentence, each one of you should remind yourself, to whomsoever much is given, much is expected. Each one of you, God has endowed with a lot of qualities, merits, intelligence, memory power, and an ability to have a profession, the best profession in this world. And that is something which each one of you should remember yourself. We have the great saint Francis of Assisi. On his deathbed, Francis of Assisi made a famous sentence in his funeral oration, or the last speech he made. Francis of Assisi said, "Our life is a gift by God to man. But what we do with this life is our gift to God. Our life is a gift by God to man. But what we do with this life is our gift to God. God has given each one of you great gifts, intelligence, perseverance, the capacity to write examination and to win those examinations. Now, it is your duty to give back to this world the great contribution of your life. Prepare yourself for that great contest which is coming in front of you." My dear students, when you do a profession, you should understand that you are serving lakhs of people. One doctor in 1 year treats almost 55,000 people. In a doctor's life of 50 years of service, the number of people a doctor treats is 1.5 crore people, 1.5 crore. You can serve the number of lakhs of people in your lifetime. An engineer constructs a bridge. In one day, 50,000 vehicles pass through that bridge. A road you construct will be used by 15 to 20 crores of people in the next 50 years. That is a great contribution you can have in this world. So you have to get ready for that great contribution to that service. My dear friends, what are we supposed to do? If you want to become a great professional, you should have a sense of history. Great men have sense of history. When they speak, they give that sense of history. Abraham Lincoln stood on the Gettysburg to make his famous speech. The great orator, James Everett, made a 2-hour speech in front of Lincoln, before Lincoln. But very few people have read that speech. Perhaps, including me, less than 10 people may have read all the speech of Everett. But at the end of Everett, Abraham Lincoln made a speech, 12 sentences, one of the greatest orations man has ever heard. Lincoln starts, 87 years ago, our forefathers brought forth upon this continent a great nation conceived on liberty and dedicated to the principle that all men are created equal. He starts from history, something which happened 87 years ago. What happened in the famous Virginia Declaration? And he starts. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru stood up in the Constituent Assembly. At midnight, independence is going to be given to India. And at 11:50, midnight, Nehru started his speech. Long years ago, we made a tryst with destiny, and now the time has come, we shall redeem our pledge. Great men have this tendency. Each one of you have the capacity to become great. You should study the lessons of history. A doctor should learn how the doctor's profession started, how it specialized, how the medical profession has come to this level now. Without knowing that, you cannot become a great doctor. You have to study what Albert Schweitzer did. You have to study how Galen became a great doctor. You have to study how Ashwini Devagal became the gods of medicine. You have to study how Dhanvantari, the great doctor of India, gave lessons in his Ashtanga Hridayam to all of us. When you read the history of medicine, how great doctors succeeded, that is the first step of each one of you to become doctor. Many of you are engineers, going to become engineers. You should know what happened in history. The pharaohs of Egypt started constructing pyramids, but each one of them started falling down. There are at least 100 pyramids in Egypt, like the step pyramids of Egypt, which have come crashing down. And the first engineer in world history, named in world history, Imhotep. Pharaoh asked him, why Imhotep, all our pyramids are coming down? Imhotep made a study, and he found out if the slope of a pyramid is more than 52.52 degrees, that pyramid will fall down. We have landslides in floods in Kerala. Using your information, you will be able to study where a landslip is possible. If the slope of a hill is more than 52.52 degree, there is going to be a landslide at that place. You have to correct it. Then Pharaoh Cheops, the great Khufu, asked Imhotep, I want to have a pyramid. Imhotep said, first give the height you want, then I will start the construction. He said, my pyramid had to be 400 feet height. Imhotep calculated and said, okay, then the base of the pyramid has to be 400 acres. From 400 acres, he started constructing. And the great Cheops pyramid was completed. And even now, after 4,500 years, that pyramid is a wonder for each one of us, because he learned from the lessons of history. When you do something, don't create traps. Yudhishthira wanted to construct an empire, a building, a palace. He called a great engineer, Mayan. He had all the Maya Vidya with him. Hallucinations. Duryodhana came to see the palace. At one place, he thought water is there. He lifted all his cloth and started walking. Then people said, why are you lifting your cloth? There is no water there. Next place, he thought it's a level ground. He started walking, fell into the pond. He was drenched and he came up. And Panjali made a clap. Duryodhana said, I will see you one day. And that day came. That was an attempt at disrobing of Panjali. That incident created the Mahabharata war. Never do this, my dear engineers. Don't create this kind of construction, which will discord battles on this earth. Whatever you construct has to be for the utility of the world, for the good use of the world. When you read Bhagavatam, you read a great fort was built, Dwaraka. It was called Dwaraka because it had 64 dwarams. Dwarams means gate, 64 gates. A city of gates became Dwaraka. A gatekeeper is called Dwarabalagan. One is on the gate. At the end of the Lord Krishna's life, a great tsunami came. Bhagavatam writes, 11 standing one upon another. That was the height of the wave. It was easily 11 into 6, 66 feet height tsunami. The tsunami which hit Kerala 2004 was 24 feet height waves. 3 times that. Water entered Dwaraka and Dwaraka was destroyed. What was the mistake the engineers did? First one, they constructed Dwaraka at a 24 feet height plateau. Had they built that fort at a 60 feet height plateau base, water would not have entered Dwaraka. Because it was 24 feet height, the balance 40 feet high water entered the city. Instead of 64 gates, if Dwaraka had only one gate on the opposite side of the sea, nothing would have happened. Water would have hit the fort, gone on the circumtraveled the fort, and would have gone to the plains below. 2004 tsunami came. The Velangani church, nothing happened. On the other side of the Velangani church, 11 people were killed. Because first wave came on the left side and passed the Velangani church to the left. And the next wave came, passed on the right side of the church and then went to the other side. Because Velangani church didn't have a gate looking at the sea, so that a wave could not enter Velangani church directly. That's why Velangani church was saved. Of course, we Christians said St. Mary came and saved us. That's a different story. But the engineering tactic should be correct. You should learn from the lessons of history. What happened to your earlier engineers when they constructed? What was a good thing happened? What was a bad thing happened? If you know the lessons of history, you will be a successful doctor. You will be a successful engineer. You will be a successful professional. That is the greatness of a great person. Learn from the lessons of history. Study things carefully. Observe things carefully. Ferdinand de Lesseps was called the great engineer of France to construct the Suez Canal. Europeans have to make a 4,000 kilometer trips circumtraveling Africa to reach Asia. Through Mediterranean, they want to cut across to the Indian Ocean. Ferdinand de Lesseps came, constructed a canal 193 kilometers long, 65 meters wide and 45 meters depth. He completed the construction in 3 years. The great Suez Canal. Then the Americans called him to construct the Panama Canal, because North America and South America is connected with a small strip-like area. If you cut it across, circumtraveling South America will be saved. South of South America, it is ice-filled area. Many shipwrecks happen. Same Ferdinand de Lesseps came with a great success story of a 3-year construction Suez Canal. He started constructing the Panama Canal. 20,000 people died. 20,000 people died. Why? Suez Canal was passing through an area which was a desert. Construction was easy. But Panama Canal is being constructed through a muddy area full of mosquitoes and small bushes. Mosquitoes caused malaria and all kind of mosquito-infested diseases. 20,000 workers died. When the canal was about to be completed, only a 2-kilometer gap was there. Suddenly, Ferdinand de Lesseps found out the Pacific Ocean is 45 meters higher than the Atlantic Ocean. If you complete the canal, the Pacific Ocean will flood through the Panama Canal. If it floods the Panama Canal, it will take 160,000 years for the water level to become equal. No use. He started constructing dikes, 45 dikes. First, the dike will be open, ship will enter, then the dike will be closed. Then the second one will be open. Then the water level between the two dikes will become equal. Then the ship will pass through, then the second dike will down. To pass the Suez Canal, you require only 36 hours. But to pass the Panama Canal, you require 21 days for each dike. Water level become equal, and then only the ship has to pass. Same engineer, same expertise. But the pre-calculations before our work was done was not there. This is the mistake. My dear engineers, when you go for your work, study the lessons of history. Avoid the pitfalls of history, and you will become a great professional. Great professional. The second thing professionals should have is far-sightedness. What is going to happen in the next 50 years? What is going to happen in the next 100 years? You should have a clear view. I had a great emperor 221 years before Christ. His name was Qin Shi Huang Ti. Shi Huang means in Chinese language great emperor. His real name was Qin Shi Huang Ti. His wife, all of us know, Wu Ti, the woman who discovered the silk. Wu Ti had a great interest in pupa. He will maintain all the pupa, golden colored pupa in the bedroom, on the veranda, everywhere. And when the pupa ultimately breaks and the butterfly comes out, she will watch how the butterfly comes out, the color, everything. One day she was taking tea. Her hand hit at the chair and the hot tea fell on the pupa. The glue started melting and the thread started coming out. She said, okay, I will put this on hot tea. And then complete thread was taken out. From each pupa, 1 kilometer long silk thread can be taken out, 1,000 meters. She made a cloth, golden colored, and came to the royal palace. The king and the courtiers wondered, a golden lady coming out. Chinese people used that silk. They constructed silk route. They went to America, Europe, sold it there, and became one of the richest powers in the world. When Qin Shi Huangdi came to power, China was 7 countries. He conquered all of them and unified China. The dynasty he found is called Qin dynasty. When Qin Shi Huangdi came to power, the name of the country was Middle Kingdom. But now it is called China, the country ruled by the Qin dynasty. That's the name of the country. When he started the dynasty, he said, I am going to start a dynasty which is a 1,000-year dynasty. A dynasty which is going to rule the China for 1,000 years. They couldn't rule 1,000 years, but they could rule about 700 years. The course of Chinese history changed. Catholics had a great pope, John Paul II, who ruled for 30 years, the second longest reigning pope after Pius IX. In 1993, he wrote a book on the threshold of 21st century. He was planning to take 120 crores of Catholics to the next 100 years. But in 1997, he wrote a book, On to the Third Millennium. Now he was planning for the next 1,000 years. That is the greatness of great people. They are far-sighted. They know what is going to happen. My dear winners who are sitting in front of me, look ahead 50 years or 100 years. Don't think I will just pass an MBBS, work somewhere, get 50,000 rupees salary and be happy. No. Some of you have to plan to get to MD and MS and all and to become medical college principals tomorrow. Some of you have to plan ahead. 13 people have got Nobel Prize from India, but not a single Malayali so far. Bengalis got the maximum. They got 5 Nobel Prizes. Malayali so far, no Nobel Prize. Kannada got a Nobel Prize. No Tamilian had got a Nobel Prize. Think ahead. After 40 years, you may plan something to get a Nobel Prize. Do research. Get a remedy for cancer. Definite Nobel Prize if you find out a remedy for cancer. If you do a research and find out a remedy for AIDS, definite Nobel Prize, definite Nobel Prize. Study the problems of medicine. Discover or invent something in that great field. You will get a Nobel Prize. Diabetes is the worst disease. It's the mother of all diseases. But if you find a cure for diabetes, you can control symptoms. But if you can find a cure for diabetes, One of you sitting in front of me may get a Nobel Prize after this. Get ready for a Nobel Prize. Think for the future. Engineer sitting in front of me, you should be able to do real research and come out with great findings. You will get great Nobel Prize or many other things. If any of you do a research in robotics and find something in robotics, a Nobel Prize is sure. Many of you sitting in front of me shall become great doctors, great engineers and all. And one day, after 2 decades, stand today's Republic Day. The great leaders is climbing the steps now in Delhi to receive the prize from the President of India, Padma Shri, Padma Vibhushan, Padma Bhushan, and the President's medal. That's a great achievement. I got 3 medals from the President of India, including the district medal. Out of 3,000 sitting in front of me, at least 20 students should get the President medal. Climb the steps on the Republic Day. Get the medal when 2 lakh people are watching you. The highest distinction from the head of India, head of the state of India. That's what you should aim at. Many of you should write books, and that books should change the course of knowledge of human being on this earth. Each one of us have some knowledge. Some of us sit down and write it. Some of them will never put it on writing. And as Walter Scott said in his famous thing, when they die, they go into the grave unwept, unhonored, and unsung. Don't become somebody like that. Put your knowledge in writing, and what you write will change the course of world human knowledge to a new level. Think ahead, far ahead. My dear professionals, each one of you, when you do your job, you should do it in such a way that it is unique. People should recognize that this doctor, this engineer have done something unique. When you have that unique contribution to this world will remember you long after you have gone. You are gone and melted into the surface crust of the earth. But what you did in this world will be remembered by human beings, by mankind for centuries or decades. That is a contribution each one of you should do. Doctors should be able to commit their life to the great service. Holy Prophet Muhammad was asked a question by Abu Bakr, the first caliph after him. Abu Bakr asked him, how can you get heaven? What's the possibility of getting heaven? Holy Prophet said, first way to get to heaven is nurse patients. If anybody is bedridden, nurse him. Sir, that is a way to go to heaven. The second way to go to heaven is nurse your parents in their old age. Third one, he said, if you have 3 daughters, you rear them, and as good kanyagas give to 3 husbands. Heaven is sure if you rear 3 daughters. Next Holy Prophet said, pray to Allah, observe the great number, read Quran and all those things. So the first way to go to heaven is nurse patients. My dear doctors, Ayurveda doctors, homeopathy doctors, nurses, all of you who have passed this examination, you will get a golden chance to nurse patients. And with that nursing, you are ensuring not only this world, but another world. Heaven, you will get heaven. Utilize that chance to do wonders. Ayurveda is a great medicine. Sirimao Bandar Nayake, the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, could not walk. Her fingers got closed. She was looking like a monkey. When modern medicine failed, she sent letters to all the countries. Any country have any medicine system which can cure me? From Kerala, we sent a message. Kottakkal Ayurveda will be able to cure you. Silva Mandarnak immediately replied, I am coming. But then the problem is, she is a security risk person. LTT was aiming at her. She cannot be sent to Kottakkal. So we arranged the treatment in the Raj Bhavan of Trivandrum, in the governor's residence. Kottakkal Ayurveda and Dr. Warrior started the treatment. After 14 days, her fingers opened up. After 21 days, she got up from the chair and stood. After 35 years, she started walking. At the end of 42 days, she coolly walked to her car, climbed the steps, got into the plane, and went back to Ceylon. She was Prime Minister again for 2 more years. That is the greatness of Ayurveda. Wonders which no other medicine could do can easily be done by Ayurveda. Many of you have qualified for homeopathy, another wonderful science. I had warts. Hundreds of warts will appear on my face. I used to go to medical college, Kozhikode, and cauterize my warts. Highly painful. If you cauterize 10, 20 warts will appear next week. We police officers have to shave every day. I took special permission from the DGP not to shave for 45 days. Then I went to a homeopath doctor at Kozhikode. He gave me Tuja. He told me to apply it. On the 3rd day, warts one by one started falling on the pillow in which I used to sleep. Gone. Last 30 years it has never appeared again. Wonderful medicine, homeopathy. Whichever be the branch of medicine you study, you will be able to do wonders in the field of medicine. My dear engineers, India is a poor country. India is a poor country. Infrastructure is not developed. 2 lakh villages have no drinking water. About 3 lakh villages do not have a connecting road with the next village. Only footpaths are available. So many places in UP, 16 districts have only 1 medical college. We want to develop our infrastructure. You should be able to provide that infrastructure to this country. Don't go to a city and work there. We want rural engineers to work to develop our villages. India lives in its villages. Doctors should not be pressurizing to get posting in cities. Our rural areas require more doctors. India is short by 24 lakh doctors. India is short by engineers. Lakhs and lakhs of engineers are short. We are trying, under a great Prime Minister, to become a 5 trillion economy. If we want to build up an economy of 5 trillion US dollars, we require almost 5 lakh engineers per year to be produced. That's our requirement. As doctors and engineers, you should be able to cater for developing this great country, for which each one of you should be committed. And when you are committed, you should be able to work relentlessly. There should not be any difference between second Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday. There shall not be any difference between night and day. Work continuously. Then only the tiresome work will bring great successes. My dear students, to get success, one of the most prime requirement is belief in God and prayers. Many times miracles happen when God interferes. A man may think the thing is impossible in the science he or she has learned, but miracles are possible. Napoleon Bonaparte fought 62 battles, won 60. He lost only 2 battles, the Battle of Leipzig and the Battle of Waterloo. He was banished to the island. Pressmen came to that island. They asked him a question. What is the lesson you want to give to posterity? Napoleon told them, ability is nothing without opportunity. You may be the most capable human being, but if God doesn't give you the opportunity, you will not reach anywhere. God will give the turning point. That is the turning point which will take you to great success. Take the life of Napoleon. He was a Corsican, an island with 5,000 people. He was born in 1769. But 5 years before his birth, the Frenchmen conquered Corsica, because of which he became a Frenchman. He entered the French army. He became the chief of army staff of France. He became the emperor of France. The Frenchmen decided not to conquer Corsica. What would have been Napoleon? Napoleon would have been maximum mayor of Corsica, mayor of 5,000 people, the municipal chairman of 5,000 people. That's all. Because he was not a Frenchman. He cannot enter the French army. He cannot become a French emperor. It is such a way that God made Frenchmen conquer Corsica. That is why he became the great emperor we see in history. The great Japanese success story was created by a great man called Hideyoshi Ieyasu. Hideyoshi Ieyasu was a tribal fellow living in the forest. When he was born, he was ugly. People used to call him Mangi. That was the nickname they used to give him because he looked like a monkey. The king of Japan wanted to eat monkey. He came to the forest. He aimed at 75 monkeys and fired the shots. Not a single arrow hit a monkey. By 3 o'clock, the king was tired. King came and sat on a rock. Then the tribals, they could never see a king, The king had come into the forest. So since the king came there, they surrounded the king to see how a king looked like. The king slowly raised his face and looked at the crowd. Hideyoshi Ieyasu was a 10-year-old boy standing in the front looking at the king. The king said, "Come here. I came to the forest to capture a monkey. I couldn't fire at a real monkey. You look like a monkey. Human monkey. Come along with me." He was taken to the palace. He played with the military fellows in the military camp. The king's son used to play with him. He joined the Japanese army and became a general. 24 years later, the king died. The king's son, who was a playmate of him in the military camp, became the next king. He made Hideyoshi the prime minister. In Japan, the prime ministers are called shogun, became a shogun. And Hideyoshi Ieyasu started the famous Tokugawa shogunate, which created Japan as a mighty empire. If the king didn't get an instinct to eat monkey, he would not have come to the forest. If any one of the arrow hit a real monkey, he would have eaten the monkey and gone back to the palace. Not a single arrow hit a monkey. If Hideyoshi was born as a handsome boy, the king would not have been attracted to Hideyoshi. He was ugly. That was his drawback. But that drawback took the attention of the king. He came to the palace and became a great shogun. In our lives, God creates wonders. If we pray to God, if we believe in God, wonder is possible. Remember, students, each one in Jerusalem Retreat Center, so many miracles have happened in this place. I had a driver. He married at the age of 32 and got a child. But 3 days later, they found out the particular hole through which the tears in the eye comes to the nose is not there. The eye started getting a pus. Doctor said immediate surgery is required. The driver came to me crying, "Sir, my child is only 4 years old. Immediate surgery is required." The man was crying profusely. To comfort him, I told him, "Look, man, you go to Jerusalem Retreat Center and pray in front of the thronos. God will act." He asked me a plain question. By praying, can God create a hall? I said, "Look, your child was created in the womb by God, the whole body. Then what's the problem? God can create a small hall." He came in front of this place and prayed in front of this to the God for 2 days. Third day, the child stopped crying. The child's eyes became very clear. The driver was wonderstruck. He took the child to the hospital and doctors told the hole is already there. A hole which was not there suddenly was created. That is what God has done in this place, in front of this Jerusalem Retreat Center. Each one of you sitting in this place where hundreds of miracles have happened. If you believe in God, miracles happen. Many things which reason cannot find out can happen. So believe in God. Have prayers so that your profession will become great. Through your hands, thousands and lakhs of people will be cured. Through your hands, so many roads, buildings, culverts, bridges will be built. Human life on this earth will become splendidly great. My dear students, when you are starting your great career, you should be able to remember all the human beings who contributed to you. Be thankful to anyone who have contributed to your success. I remember a great story. Archimedes was a great scientist. He studied in Alexandrian University. And when he completed his studies, he was going back to Syracuse, the place from where he came. His teacher, Polycrates, told him, "Archimedes, you are a highly meritorious person. You will become a great man. Through you, myself, and all the teachers of Alexandria will be remembered." Alexandria University have created a lot of great men. The great mathematician Euclid studied there. Pythagoras, the mathematician, studied there. Galen, the great doctor, studied there. Eratosthenes, who measured the circumference of the earth, was a librarian there. Hippocrates, whose oath the doctors say after MBBS, was a student there. So many great people. This university may be destroyed after some time. This library also may be destroyed. But my dear Archimedes, through you we will be remembered. May God bless you, Archimedes. And Archimedes went back to Syracuse. 25 years later, Theodosius the emperor ordered the library to be burned. Alexandrian library was burned. In Mediterranean, the island Thera exploded. Tsunamis were formed. Tsunamis dragged Alexandria into the depths of Mediterranean Sea. Library was gone. University was gone. Archimedes wrote his famous autobiography. He remembered Polycrates, the teacher. the classrooms in which he studied, and the library in which he read the great books. They became famous. The teachers who were known only in Alexandria and around the Tory areas became great personalities. APJ Abdul Kalam, the great inspiring president of India, he studied in Rameshwaram. Rameshwaram was a small island, only 6,000 people there. The Panama Bridge was not built. So the Rameshwaram was cut off from the main land. The teachers who taught APJ Abdul Kalam were known only in that small island. APJ Abdul Kalam wrote his autobiography. He remembered Srinivasan Jain, who taught him, Srinivas Rao. He mentioned Ramachandran, the great teacher who taught him in the middle class. The teachers who are known only in Rameshwaram are now known to all the 6 continents because 2.5 million copies of the autobiography of APJ Abdul Kalam was sold out. The teachers who are known only in Alexandria are known to the whole world now because the autobiography of Archimedes mentions it. 3,000 students sitting in front of me. Many of you will become Archimedes. Which boy is going to become Archimedes, we don't know. Which girl sitting here is going to become Archimedes tomorrow, we don't know. But some Archimedes and some Archimedes are sitting in front of me. When you become great, when you write your autobiography, don't forget to mention the name of P.C. Thomas, who made your success possible. Don't forget to mention the names of the great teachers of P.C. Thomas classes who taught you how to pass the entrance examination. Remember your teachers. Remember your parents when you write your autobiography. When you remember them, through your autobiography, people who are known only in Kerala will be known in all the continents of the world. Through your greatness, all your teachers shall become great. That is your success. Whenever you do something, whenever you treat somebody, remember the great sentence. Doctor treats, but God heals. You may be giving the best treatment to a patient, but cure is not ensured. You are only treating. It is Almighty God who cures the patient. You bridge a bridge, but Almighty God is required to make that bridge strong so that it will remain for centuries helping the people. Trust in God and do your earnest works. Your profession should be carried out in right earnest. Whenever you're doing, ask your conscience, is it good what I am doing now? When you do something, remember that each one of your actions may change the course of so many families. You are treating a patient. If you cure that patient, his wife, his children will have a breadwinner through which that family will be saved. The children will be reared to great heights. If at very young age a father is lost, that whole family gets a beating. You may be treating as patient, but you are saving a family when you do the treatment correctly. When you do construct a building, you may be constructing a building, but if you cannot construct it properly, that building will come down, hundreds of people may sometimes die. Whatever you do, trust in God and always pray before you start something, that today what I am doing should be beneficial to society. My dear students, many of you have the capacity to pass the IAS examination, civil service examination. After passing MBBS in engineering, have an attempt on the civil service examination. Every year, out of the successful candidates in the civil service examination, 50% of them are engineers. Engineers are the best capable to pass the civil service examination. Study carefully and after engineering, have an attempt on the IAS examination. So many doctors have become very successful IAS officers. We have Dr. Venu, great doctor, great IAS officer. We have Divya Iyer, Renu Raj, two doctors, MBBS doctors, very good civil servants, IAS officers. Like that, you have a professional qualification with you, but at the same time, try to become a good doctor, good engineer, but at the same time, try to become a good civil servant. In civil service, if you have professional knowledge also, that will help the civil service to perform their duties better. We have in Kerala now one of the best medical doctors I have seen in my life. When virus attacked, hundreds of people died in Nigeria. Hundreds of them died in Singapore and Malaysia. Now there is a virus attack in China. The mighty China is finding it difficult to contain it. But Kerala had last 4 years so many viral attacks. But whether it is Nipah or whether it is some other virus, our medical department could successfully contain it. Even American universities appreciate the greatness of Kerala system. Shaila the teacher is a great success in our medical history. But it's made possible because there are committed doctors. Some of them doctors who have become civil servants. And when a doctor and a civil servant comes together, that professional will be a far better professionals. We have a medical university. When a doctor sits there as the vice chancellor, that university does wonders. So we want many of you to pass the civil service examination, to become the PWD secretary, an engineer becoming a PWD secretary, that PWD department will work better. If an MBBS doctor becomes the medical university vice chancellor or the health department secretary, that IAS doctor will be far better in running the health department than an ordinary BA history person. So many of you should aim to pass the civil service examination. On this day, when all of you have achieved success, and all of us are watching you in the next years, how successful you are going to be in this professional service, you should remember one thing. I will tell that also and stop. When 100 children are born in India, only one child have the luck to enter a college. 100 students born in India, only 1% enters a college. India's population is 136 crores. Total students in all the colleges in India put together is 126 lakhs. Only 1% can enter a college. When 100 students enter a college, only 1% of those can enter a professional college to become a doctor, to become an engineer, or become an MBA. Now, each one of you should remember that God has selected you as the 0.0001, the rarest of the rare. God has given you such a distinction. When God has selected you as the 0.0001% of the population, great responsibilities are on you. You are the best hopes of India. I hope all of you achieve success in your examination, become very good professionals, and raise India once more to the great heights we are. Great success to all of you. Be successful come successful back. May God bless you all. Thank you very much.